Hey, everybody. That is Gary Smith. That is Kaz Kenny.
Kapow!
And I am Eddie Bramble, and this is episode 15?
16.
Episode 16 already.
16,
Holy
baby.
cow.
16.
Episode 16 of the Blackwaters Edge podcast.
16 weeks.
Kaz, why don't you start us off with this week's fish report?
Well, folks, if you've been watching anything on our Facebook pages, you know that this week some stuff started coming together, and it's only going to get better from here on out. So get your reels all greased up, get your lime re-spooled, make sure them rods got good backbone, ain't going to break when you set the hook, make sure that your guides and everything are good to go. Get yourself some snakehead destroyers from the boys down here, get out here and start fishing. So yesterday, I know Cornflower got into 18 snakeheads over there that he landed, and after talking to him last night, I think he said they lost somewhere over 30. So they went over there exploring to see if there were any crappie or any bluegill under the ponds over there at Aries Road, and nothing there, but they found plenty of snakeheads and one channel catfish. I know that our good friend Carl, he's been out there doing a little fishing. I think you joined him one night, Gary. You were out there with him. Yep. We're seeing some yellow perch, a few nice yellow perch coming over 335, which is good to see. We were getting a little worried because we hadn't seen any at all. Not seen any big numbers, but at least we're seeing a few fish now, right?
A lot of catfish.
Big difference.
Catfish, yep. We caught a lot of bullheads. I think Carl said he caught around 30 whites in the afternoon or something like that. You know, there were some pretty nice fish, and those white catfish are good eating. Yeah, man. And then me and Gary and who went with us that day? I can't remember. It was me, you, and who were over there with on 335?
Oh, Meister.
Oh, Meister, yeah. Chris Meister, we were over there fishing over there. We didn't do very good over there. We did find nothing at all that day with Meister.
Had a good time.
Yep, good time. And then the other day we went over, it was me, you, and I think it was just me and you, and Damien stopped by that day. We caught some catfish. We caught, I think, two white perch, I think.
Perch.
And Ricky was with us one day, and we got some couple yellow perch there too. One snakehead over 335. I'm hearing some stuff over at DeCourcy, a few snakes, not many. There's a few white perch showing up over there, they're saying. Over in Drawbridge, you got a few white perch showing up there too. And these are our migratory fish that come in every year. I did stop and talk to a guy yesterday on Key Wallace, said he had 3 jumbo white perch up to 12, 13 inches. You know, there might be a few over there, and he got them on bloodworms, not minnows. So if you're going to target the perch, keep in mind, you know, you want to use some of them little perch pounders that we got, you know, the minnows, or you want some bloodworms. Bloodworms are always good. We've always used that a long time over there at Key Wallace. That's always had pay dirt for us. Down river towards the Hongo, you know, I'm hearing some catfish. I'm hearing a few stripers. There's some white perch down there in the chop tank. There's some white perch below Greensboro getting ready to come up. Been a few yellow perch caught up there around Greensboro now this week. So they're there. Get out and look. You'll find them. Y River, they're saying getting some nice yellow perch up around there. So you might want to check out there in the deeper water of the Y River out past the spillway. I mean, it's coming, folks. So let's get ready. Susquehanna, they're catching them up there. Walleyes, yellow perch, a few white perch, flathead catfish, blue catfish. I mean, the Potomac River, blue catfish, fishing's everywhere. Just get out and go, man. You don't know if you don't go. That's what I always tell you. You don't know if you don't go. So if you're going to call me and ask me if tomorrow's a good day, I can tell you every day from here on out is going to be a good day, and you don't know if you don't go. So get out there.
It's warming up early this year.
Yeah.
So
Bluegills and bass, I'm seeing them every day in my pond now.
I mean, we ain't really had any snow to speak of. We ain't had any ice really to speak of.
It's supposed to get a dusting on Saturday, I think. It's Friday night and Saturday morning. Might get a little dusting, but
that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, none in South
We've had a
Carolina.
little over an inch this year,
Right.
February, and that's it.
No ice fishing. I mean,
yeah,
Last time it was like this was in 1880-something.
that's right. Isn't that crazy?
that is, man.
So
Global warming, bro.
I don't remember.
Glad we ain't got koalas here because
I'm
I'd be
old, but I'm
crying
not
every
that
day.
So this week on the show, guys, we've got Wayne Brown here. Wayne, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself real quick?
Well, I've been coming down here since I was 13. I'm 71 years old right now, and I've been coming to Wolford Store back when Wee Brooks owned it, and Eddie's grandfather lives across the street here, and that's how I more or less got down here. And through my brother, stopped in and talked to Teddy's father, Mr. Saul, and wanted a place to do some deer hunting. And it led to us having a club down here for the last 50 years and bringing a lot of people down here on the shore, introducing them to this place, all the fishing and hunting and all.
Let me ask you.
So it was you.
It's all Wayne's fault.
Let me ask you a question, Wayne. And if you don't remember, I totally understand because we see a little gray around your face.
Yeah,
It's probably
right.
hard to remember some of them things. So, do you remember the first time that you were brought down here to the Eastern Shore? And if so, let us hear the story. Tell us about your first adventure here at the Eastern Shore, who you were with, and how it unfolded for you.
Yeah, first time I come down with my brother to do deer hunting. Like I say, he met Teddy and Mr. Saul, and that's how we wound up getting down here. And I hunted right down the street here on Travis's land here, right across from Lori Lane. That was the first place I ever hunted. At that time, I was probably 15.
What drew you to the Eastern Shore? What was exciting about that made you guys want to come down here?
Well, the deer hunting and the openness, it was more like a wilderness type thing down here. It wasn't all asphalt and concrete.
And where were you living at the time when you first started coming down here?
In Middle River.
Middle River, okay.
Yep.
So it's a big difference here in Middle River, and that's what you liked about it.
Yeah, and once you come down here and you get a taste of this, it's hard not to ever come back again.
So tell us about your first adventure.
And well, that was my first adventure. And,
did you hunt your first time, or did you just
yeah,
come and
I hunted,
look around?
and I got lost the first time too. Yeah,
tell us about that. Tell us about getting lost.
Kept walking around to the same tree all the time, and I knew I wasn't going to get lost. And finally, I had to start calling out to my brother, who wouldn't answer me. And then finally, he figured he wasn't going to get to hunt anymore the rest of the day unless he did come over and get me. And he showed me how to get out of where I had to get out of the woods to get back to the car. And that was my first experience down here.
See any deer?
No. I never seen deer for probably the first 4 or 5 years that I hunted down here.
No kidding.
Oh, wow.
It was 5 years before you saw a deer.
Myself personally, yeah. And
Weren't as many deer back then.
no, it wasn't as many deer. It's more deer now than there ever was down here on the shore. But whenever we came down, Eddie's grandfather, Teddy, he always had a place for us to hunt. And things got better for me later on in life. After a few years, I started seeing deer. And I remember I killed my first deer down Cherry Point.
Tell us about that hunt. Tell us about that hunt.
Well, it was a place down there. Cherry Point goes right down into the chopper tank out to where McKeel's Point is. And it's surrounded by water. And we had to walk back in there, and it was probably a mile walk back there. And so that meant you had to carry or drag your deer back out all that way. And we had a spot back there called the Slough, which is still there now, even though the houses are built up. And that's where I killed my first deer. It was a 101-pound spike.
Whitetail or second?
Whitetail.
That was your first deer ever?
First deer ever, and I got it home mounted up in the attic.
Wow, that's awesome.
I carried that thing out of there on my back. Of course, at that time, I think I was about 16 before I went in the Army, and I carried that thing out there on my back without putting it down, with the guts out of it.
So you were hunting here, and then you went into the Army?
I went into the Army in 68.
What did you go in the Army for? Tell us a little bit about that.
I was in avionics, helicopter communication navigation systems, and I spent 2 years as I was drafted. Went in and did my time, come out.
This was during Vietnam time?
Yeah, but they kept me stateside, I think, because of my eyesight so bad.
Okay.
And so I stayed stateside. I started out at Bragg for two months there through basic. Then I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia for signal school I was there about 6 months. And then I went to Alexandria, Virginia, which was Fort Belvoir. And I ETS'd out of there in 1970.
Well, hey, I definitely want to thank you for your service. I just want to mention this real quick. I think I just realized why he didn't see a deer or shoot a deer for 4 years, because of his eyesight. Anyway, back to it, brother.
No, believe it or not, I have been a pretty good shot. I have missed my deer.
You can't be a worse shot than Kaz is. That's for sure.
Don't talk. It ain't about me on this show, okay?
Yeah.
Kaz isn't a bad shot. He just needs somebody else to hold the gun for him.
Yeah, that was it. And when I was in the Army, it took me a while to come out sharpshooter because I couldn't see the targets that were way far away from me. So that might have had something to do with keeping me out. And I have 2400 in my left eye, so I'm legally blind in my left eye.
How about that?
But we started. Teddy got us.
So you came out of the Army and you came back to the Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
Because you loved it so much, you just couldn't stay away.
We were hunting the farm. Joe Lithicum's farm up at Button's Head and 335, and we started a club there in 1971.
Wow.
And Teddy did all the farming up there, and that's how we got that place. We started hunting there in like 1965, and we had a club up there, to you all know, till about 3 or 4 years ago. They sold the land, and that was the end of it.
So Teddy was still farming when you came down?
Yes, he was still farming.
How about that? That was before he had Madison Bay.
Yes, and we always had a different place to hunt every year, so it was really nice. We have a different farm, which was always nice going on to a new piece of property.
Yeah.
It was just something about that, you know. And he was always good to us. And, you know, he taught us a lot about down here.
Now I know you like deer hunting and you like duck hunting too, and you like goose hunting. So, when did you get the opportunity to chase your first waterfowl? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was up at the farm. You know, we had
Over Button's Neck.
Yeah, we had goose hunting rights up there, and Teddy again told us about the branch back in the back, which we never knew about. We go back there, and there's wood ducks and teal. They were back there like you wouldn't believe.
Tons of them.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was that good. That's how good.
We didn't have snakeheads back in 1972, did we?
No.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
No.
And then
here.
from there, you know, we branched out and went down Fishing Bay, and we used to go out there freelancing and all. We had a lot of fun down there doing that. And I didn't fish a whole lot back then. I was mainly into the hunting and that. But later on, we got into the fishing. We'd go down to 335, the bridge there. We used rubber worms, and you could stand off the side of the road and catch 30 bass within an hour.
You know, and I'm glad to hear you bring that up, because I kind of wanted to ask you about, you know, we've had lots of people on the threads that say, you know, Blackwater was never a good bass fishery. You guys never had big bass. You know, that wasn't a go-to place to go catch bass. And I totally disagree, because I know that when you guys took me under your arm and you guys started taking me around here, I had never in my life seen bass the size, the numbers, or anything like that up in Harford County, in the Susquehanna, or any of them places that I've, not saying I never caught big bass. I'm just saying I was attracted right away at the quality, the numbers, and the accessibility, and I don't want to say it was easy, but it was just, you know, you taught me some good stuff, and it was very easy for me to learn how to catch these big bass here. And that's what kept me coming back in the beginning. You remember that. Every time I'd come here, I'd say to you, hey, can we go into refuge? Can we go bass fishing? Can I go over across the street and fish in the pond over there? Can I go over? I was always up your butt about some bass fishing or whatever. And I give you, and I give Ricky, and I give the guys in the club a lot of credit for a lot of things that they taught me over the years. So I know you had the opportunity to fish this way before I ever did. And I think that to say that we never had a good bass fishery is false.
Oh,
you
had an
know?
awesome bass fishery.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Even over to Coursey, we used to go over there, and we seemed like we caught a lot of nice, bigger bass over to Coursey, where the old bridge used to go across.
Crappie. Good God,
And
man.
crappie over there.
I mean, tell us a little bit about the crappie fishing and like stuff, and the perch. And I mean, because I know what I got to experience with you guys in the years before the snakeheads made it into the refuge and we started seeing them. So, I mean, it was nothing for us when we went to get a limit of yellow perch, to get a limit of white perch, to get a bucket of bluegills, to get some chain pickerel, to catch a lot of different species of fish. And so I remember you guys introduced me to a buzz bait, you know, and when they introduced me to a buzz bait,
That was Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky probably did that. You're right. But I remember you guys were teaching me about lures and things like that. And, you know, God, I mean, we would spend, I don't know how many hours and hours and days back in there
seemed like
fishing.
we used the shad darts all the time.
Yeah.
For the
That was the
crappie and
hula
white
popper
perch.
days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at 335, you used to be able to go there and just stand right on the bridge and whack in bass. I remember
Yeah,
doing
they
it when
were
I
there.
first started coming here too.
My uncle went there first, and he's the one that spread the word to us at the club, you know. So we go up to Kmart and we buy the rubber worms, and we're there and the Coursey catching them bass, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
How about the Chickamauga? Did you guys ever do much fishing over that way?
I didn't get over that way
yeah.
much. I mainly fished right around here, close to Button, that Church Creek area down here. You know, I fished the tubes a lot down at Parsons Creek, right up here at Church Creek, and mainly 335. Mainly when we started taking a boat out there, we go back all the way to the footbridge, and we did good on crappies. You know, you could catch 13-inch crappies, no problem. Every now and then you get a 14 or 15-inch crappie.
Little
White perch was
Blackwaters,
always
same
good.
way.
Yeah.
So you said you weren't that big into fishing when you first came down here.
No, I was mainly a hunter.
So what really got you into the fishing part of Blackwater? What this nursery? What's so special about it? What really drew you in the first time?
Going back to off of the bridge at 335 and getting back in the back, it was so remote. I've done 5 trips up in Canada in the wilderness, and this is the closest thing that you'll ever get to that.
Amen.
That's deep. That's deep. Yeah.
There's no, buildings or nothing down there on Blackwater. It's just remote as can be. When you're there, you feel like, you don't hear nothing but the animals, the birds, the fish jumping and this and that. You know, it's a good feeling.
Well, you're somewhere that nobody goes. I remember I told Eddie.
You said it
I
multiple times.
told Marcia over at the manager of Blackwater that there's more people that have seen that in the last 5 years than have in the last, I say 50, but probably in the last 100 years. I mean, nobody ever went back there except this very few people that went back there fishing.
Yes.
And it's like nowhere else you ever been.
Yes, and I can understand, sometimes how they protect it. I used to fish the stumps right there off of 335, and I was out there one day, and the game warden stopped up there on the road. I seen him standing up there, and anyhow, he flagged me up, and I went on out. I had a couple white perch, and they had put a new law they put in that you weren't allowed to wade no more because they didn't want to mess up the environment or nothing. And so they said we used to do that all the time. Go out there with minis on tied to our side.
I remember.
Catch the white perch with a stringer and all. Well, they stopped us from doing that.
I remember us going out at night over 335 and walking through the frag in our hip boots.
Right.
Way back there, the mosquitoes were just thick as could be. But my God, we sat on them banks, all of us, and we threw them top and bottom rigs out with bloodworms and minnows, and man, we just loaded up on white perch when we did that.
Yes.
You fished down there when those stumps were trees.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, seriously, I did too. I'm not making fun. I mean,
the
that's
trees always come up almost to where the bridge was.
There was a lot more land there then.
It was a lot of pine trees there and all.
Yeah, the Newts did the number on that.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit. What are some of the other changes you've seen over the years from the way the marsh has evolved with the way things have gone?
Well, when I first started going down Blackwater, lily pads, as soon as you left the bridge, there was lily pads all the way around, So if you waited later on to fish, closer to the summer, the lilies got up real bad. If you fished early, you didn't have as many lily pads there. But there was places where you could get out of the pads and still fish and all. And but that was mainly the place where I fished the most. Over the Coursey, I don't really remember seeing lilies over there. I think that water was a little more swift over there. Gary probably.
Yeah, it was few, but more than there is now. Little Blackwater was the same way. Mm-hmm. We used to go to the back where they had a kayak launch now, and to get back there, if we didn't fish it early and keep a path open, it closed up.
How about that?
From the lily pads, yeah. I didn't fish the Little Blackwater as much as I did over at 335. Yeah.
I still see some areas over in the Chick and in the Trans upriver that remind me a lot of what it used to look like at 335, particularly over in over off the Egypt branch right there. If you come down the river from there, there's two completely different kinds of lily pads in that system. And the thing I like about the pads is upriver, you've got the smaller pads. When you come down river, you've got the pad fields that have those pads that are 20 inches plus in diameter.
That's what was in the Blackwater.
Yeah. And I love fishing those big pads like that. And the only reason being is because you've got so much space on the surface when you're pulling like your top water over that the coolest thing is when you're getting ready to get a fish because you'll have that bait laying right on top of one of them big lily pads and boop. You'll see them trying to knock it, and it's cool because you'll see them, they'll hit the pad so hard, they'll knock the lure 2 feet. They'll swim underneath it, knock it again 2 feet, and just keep dragging them out to the edge of the pad. And as soon as you get to the edge of the pad, as soon as you pull it off that far, it's gone. You know what I mean? Yeah, the pads are definitely great, and I know it was a big difference back then. You've told me, from what it is now, especially over at the 335 area.
Yeah. It used to be a lot of crappie down there and all. Sometimes we'd tie a bobber to one and turn it loose, and we'd go back the following week, and that thing would still be swimming around there. We figured, well, that's where the school's at.
You can give that away now because they're not there anymore.
Yeah,
we used to do the
you
same
just
thing.
Gave up our favorite secret, man. You told me I was never supposed to tell anybody that.
It doesn't matter.
But that's what
anymore.
we would do. We would hook a big crappie and leave it on a bobber in that branch and come back the next day. And if they weren't on the tree, we just ride. Right, there's the bobber.
Yeah.
There. As soon as you get over there and start casting, there's the whole school laying right there.
Done that a many times.
And it used to be a lot of pickerel back then.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since I fished there once, I think last year out of a boat with Ricky. And I caught a 23-inch bass back there last year.
Yep, I remember.
And I won a tournament in my club up home with that. And but we caught quite a few bass that day. And we caught some snakes that day too. But it's not like it used to be. But nothing ever stays the same, Everything changes.
That's it. That's the only constant. Everything changes over time.
Yes.
So I know you've spent a lot of time in Blackwater hunting Sika deer and stuff like that. And I know you like hunting them Sikas. And I know Gary does too. And I know you both hunt pretty much kind of the same general area over there a little bit.
Yeah, next door.
So
Next farm over.
So tell us about. Do you remember your first Sika hunt? You remember your first one you killed?
Yes.
All right, let's hear that story.
I killed that down on.
And how long ago was that you killed that Sika?
That was in probably 73. Around 73. I shot a spike Sika. Me and my brother, we both tagged out the same day. Both killed our first Sika ever. We were hunting down off of 336, a piece of land owned by Foxwell, and we went back in there. It was frozen. You had to walk through the ice and all. We had hip boots on, and it was icy and cold and everything.
Sika hunting's very grueling for the people that don't know. You know, it's not like whitetail hunting. Just go sit in a tree. I mean, this here is a totally different beast of nature. So
if you got some private places, you can get them up in the fields and stuff like that.
Right.
But basically, you're going to go into marshes and you're going to have to trek through some muddy stuff and all to get to them.
Sure.
It's
You're going to work for it.
It's as close to trapping as you're going to get.
Yeah.
That's true.
We used to get up 3 o'clock in the morning and head down to Parsons Creek and get in a boat, go back in the back, and then we come back. We go in at dark. We come out at dark. Come back, eat supper, go to bed, get up 3, and we do that for a week straight all the time.
So tell us about that first kill.
But, it was just I'm sitting there on a very cold morning, and I carried my other boots in with me, had them on, and I just happened to look to my left, and I seen a whitetail and about 5 Sika. And I was shooting a 30-06, and I shot this spike Sika, and I didn't see it no more, so I sat there for about an hour. And then when I finally got out of the stand, I walked over, and there was a deer laying in the little trail there.
What did you think when you walked up on that?
I was tickled. And I heard my brother shoot, right after that. So I figured he tagged out too. And come to find out, both of us killed a spike.
Yeah, I just heard you say the word tagged. How many Sika were you allowed to kill back then? Just one?
I think back then that they had 5 on it back then.
5.
In the 70s.
Okay.
And which they reduced that down through the years,
Now, back at that time, was the whitetail bag the same as the Sika bag, or did they have a higher Sika bag because they were considered an invasive animal?
They might have thought they were invasive, before they got to where they are today, and how they, they're a draw down here now.
Right,
A lot of people like to
Didn't
come
realize
for
how
them
much
all.
money was in it back then.
Yeah. And back when I first started hunting down here, you were only allowed 1 buck. You couldn't shoot no does.
Oh.
If you wanted to shoot a doe, you had to come down like the 27th of December, go to the, I think it's a VFW right up by the Chop Tank Bridge. And you had to stand in line there, and you might stand there for a couple hours. And if you were lucky, you went in there, they give you a tag, and you were allowed to come down. They had a 3-day doe season. And that was
3
usually
day.
3 days.
like the 28th, 29th, and 30th of December. And so you could go ahead, if you didn't kill a deer during the regular season, you had a chance to kill a doe.
Did they have a bow season back then? I don't think they even had a bow season.
I don't even
did
know
they?
if they had a bow season.
I don't
Gary.
remember it. Because I used to work when I was 10, 12 at Phillips's store there in Church Creek, which was a deer checking station. You had to check them in physically back then.
Right.
And deer season only lasted was a week, 10 days. Something.
Yeah.
It wasn't very
It
long.
used to come in on Friday after Thanksgiving, and from what I heard when I was young, the wives, they got mad because all the husbands were leaving on Thanksgiving Day instead of staying home for their dinner. So after a few years, they changed that. They did away with that Friday hunt and started opening it up on Saturdays.
Okay, so you just made me think of something when you said Thanksgiving. So I remember, I forget when it was, but it was back in probably the 90s. I remember it was probably like, I don't know, it was Thanksgiving week. I remember I called you, and I called Dean, and I'd called Webby. I forget. I called everybody. Is everybody going? Is everybody going? I forget who it was I called, but I called one of them guys. I said, what's the plan? He says, well, I'm going to eat the bird, and I'm giving everybody the bird, and I'm heading down to go deer hunting. That was just, I just remember that. I don't remember if it was you or Dean, but every year I'd call him, like, what's the plan? Well, I'm going to eat the bird, give the bird, and we're gone.
We'd always come down on Friday. We'd either goose hunt, do something like that, and then get ready for opening day Saturday morning.
Whitetail with us.
Yes.
Let's talk about rock fishing. Did a lot of rock fishing back then down here. What was the rock fishing like?
I didn't do a lot of rock fishing personally myself down here. I fished a lot when I was young with my brother and my father, and that we had a 37-foot dead rise, and we usually come down the bay to the bridge and all, and did a lot of trolling and bottom fishing, stuff like that. And down here, I have done, some trophy fishing. When I had my wellcraft out here, me and Ricky used to go out and we'd catch some rock over by the power plant. Went out with Webby a few times on top hook, and went over to gas docks, and we had some beautiful days over there. Catch some beautiful fish using L-wise. And but like I say, I was more of a hunter when I was down here than a fisherman. I like chasing the panfish more than I like chasing the big fish. And Webby and his son Zach and them, they never really ate a lot of panfish back then. And I introduced them to eating them. They couldn't believe how good they were. They were missing all them years because they didn't fish for none of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I remember nights going down to Hooper's Island after dark croaker fishing. I mean, let's talk about some of that, man. That was some fun times. I mean, them croakers were big too, boy. We get down there, we have a jag of us down there, 10 guys, music cranking, fishing, hollering, hooting, having a little party on the side of the road.
Had some fun, peeler crabs. Yeah, so we go down all the way by Rippons and fish where the little pavilion was.
Yep, I remember.
Fish off the rocks there. Yep. Yeah, we used to do good on the croakers and that.
I remember one night me and you were fishing at Hooper's Island, and I don't know if it was me or you, but one of us fell asleep on the asphalt that was up like that. And it was me now, I remember. I fell asleep sideways on the asphalt because I was just getting tired. We'd been there I don't know how many hours. Yeah. And then I forget who was fishing down the bottom. Somebody, I think it might have been Doug. Doug was down the bottom of the asphalt, but I like laid down horizontally, but somehow got sideways on the asphalt. And I don't know what happened, but I'm sound asleep and I'm rolling. I'm waking up as I'm rolling down the asphalt, right? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go in the water, man. And I smacked the pile on, and Doug was standing there and looked at me and said, what are you doing? I had no idea, but I'm glad I didn't go over to the side of the wall. I knew that. For those of you that know, this is like a 30, 40-foot incline, and it's all asphalt. My whole face was scratched up and beat up, man. Jeez, we would die hard, man. I mean, we would just go and fish. Webby would come scoop me up, take me down Punch Island. I'd come back, Wayne grabbed me up, we'd go down Hooper's Island. You never knew what we were going to do.
Yeah. Well, you remember when the hardheads came back. Yeah. The first place that I remember catching was at 335.
Is that right?
Like 1967, 68 with my dad and my brother. And we were fishing on the refuge side, the left going down. And we were catching, they were 4.5, 5, 6 inches long. And my brother and I had no idea what they were. My dad got excited. He didn't, he was pretty laid back, but he got excited. He said, "That's hard is, man." He said, "That's the first time I've seen one of them in 20 years."
I'm glad to hear you say that.
And I guess that's when they came back. They started, a few of the large ones came in and spawned.
Yeah. I'm surprised you say it because I thought I had a guy telling me over at the Coursey Bridge, an older fella from here, and he told me back in the 60s that they had some croakers or late 60s or something. The croakers ran up that far.
That's the first ones I'd ever seen because they disappeared.
I was just thinking, isn't that like pretty fresh compared to salt, But I've talked to other guys too back in them days that said they came in the Middle River. They came in the Bush River. So I guess
a spawn like everything else.
Can you imagine sitting out here at the Coursey Bridge and ripping up a 4-pound croaker while you're snakehead fishing?
I caught my first one in Middle River probably back in the mid 60s. They had been going from what everybody had said, been going for quite a few years, and coming down here was a good spot when we had the club because you could leave from here and go down to like Chrisfield or Watchaprig, and we'd go down to Chrisfield and we'd fish for flounder, and we were catching 4.5-pound hardheads down there right out of Rumley, and it was used to be pretty good. And then they come into Ocean City there back in like 79, I guess it was, right around there, and they had quite a few good numbers down there. Not a lot of big fish, but pan-size fish.
So we've talked about how good the fishing was. How much of a difference have you seen, Wayne, since the snakeheads have shown up? What have you seen with your own eyes since snakeheads have come to Blackwater?
Well, I don't think there's many bass around, smaller bass like used to be. Like I say, you could catch bass all day long. And as far as the pickerel, I don't know when the last time I caught a pickerel down here. I don't know if anybody's been catching any around the Blackwater.
Now, I know you have a spot that's very special to you that you like to fish, and you fish it every year, and you have for 50, 60 years. When we go to the special pier, 8 years ago, we used to go over there this time of the year, and we would catch lots of white perch on a bobber and a mini.
Yeah.
We'd catch some yellow perch. We'd catch some crappie. We'd catch some giant bass. Now, that was a typical day, let's say 5 years ago even. You know, we caught fish like that. Now, me and you have frequented the same spot together many times. And I guess my question is, have you seen the same thing that a lot of people have seen here since the snakeheads have shown up? Have you seen the decline in what you're catching off of that pier in the last 5 years compared to what you were catching 5 years ago as far as the white perch go and the crappie and everything? So I just want you to tell the people that, you know, you're an outside person. You know, you're somebody who's out here fishing. You're somebody who's out here who sees it. You know, a lot of guys, they hear us talk. They think we're exaggerating things. They think we're making it worse than it really is. And I'm not saying it's worse, better, what it is. I'm simply presenting the facts and what we see.
Right.
So from your standpoint, and you as a person who is, I consider as much a diehard here as anybody else when it comes to the outdoors, do you think things have changed a lot?
Oh, yeah, they have. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't see the crappies over there where I fish at, and very few white perch. Like we used to go down there and be able to catch some nice white perch.
I know.
It seems like it's more snakeheads. It seemed like when they showed up, the first time we fished there, we caught 30 in that, 4 or 5 hours. I never caught one there before.
Yeah, we had that first day that they showed up in there, and me and you were there, and I think Corn was there, and we had a bunch of people in the picture. And I think we had, I thought we had 44 or 48 or something like that.
It might have been in 2 days, maybe, or
I think that was just the one day, and then the next day we came back because we took a picture on the tarp with all of them laid out, and then the next day we came back and we hit them again. And I think me and Cornflower kept going there every day for like a week, and we were making videos. I mean, we were loading up.
Every now and then you would catch a white perch, but, you know, you'd only wound up with maybe 5 out of a couple of days.
Is that the first time you caught snakeheads? No, okay.
No, first time I ever caught was 2009 Maple Dam.
Okay. So this is the first time they moved into
that
your
spot.
Yeah,
all's
that
spot.
they moved in over to the spot where we
Gotcha,
were in that
gotcha.
branch. And we were able to figure out that these fish were using that branch in the deeper areas as wintering home. So there's a deeper area that's not far from where our sweet spot is. And all we had to have was like a day of 50-degree weather and get there the next day. And I mean, you could just look out in the water and you could just see them swimming, man.
Right.
And it was like every time you'd see one gulp, you just throw right at it, man, and boom, you had him, you know? I mean, it was just ridiculous. And it's been like that now for how many years? 4 years now, I'd say we've been doing it like this over there, you know what I mean? And 4 years ago, we didn't find anything like that.
So wait, is that the first time you caught a snakehead at all?
First time Kaz took me over at
335.
335 at Lynn's. That's the first place where I.
And how many did you catch your first day?
I wound up catching 5 that day, I think. Yeah.
No, it was 8. It was 8, because I had the
8?
videos.
Okay.
Every time you caught one, you held your hand up and kept doing this.
Yep.
Yep.
I caught my first one in the soybean field.
In the soybean field?
Yeah, the tide was high.
And the funniest thing about Wayne's fish that he caught is every single one of them, and you guys have heard me tell stories like this, that we get a fish on a spot and we take it off and another fish replaces the fish.
Same spot.
He sat next to that same pile, and I think every single one of those fish, except the one on the other side that you caught under the tree,
Right.
every single fish, every time he would drop back, pull one out,
spot.
go let it go, give it 2 seconds, drop back in, there was another one right there waiting. And it was just, it's an ambush point. And I try to tell people, if you can find these ambush points and that sweet spot, I don't care. You could take 30 of them off that day. Every time you take one off, one moves right back there waiting to get in there to get a meal.
So how long ago was it that you caught that first snakehead? When was that?
It's probably been 4 years, 5 years, 4 or 5 years for me.
Wow.
Yeah, probably. When I first heard about him, a friend of the club, Doug Eckert, he had some friends were fishing like off of Maple Dam.
They were Maple Dam.
And Egypt Road, and there's a couple of places where, you know, just a little creek, just a little stream went under the road. They weren't fishing into the spots where the rivers were.
Right.
And they were catching them out of these little bit of water down there. And that, you know, amazed me. And I remember when they brought the first one over and showed it to us. And that's when we started getting into it a little bit. And then Kaz started going out and catching some. And I wasn't really interested in them. Then finally one day he got me out and got me started on them.
Let me tell you about a couple of things that I've been able to introduce Wayne to. Sushi. He never liked sushi. I mean, we go up eat at the Pecking House all the time, eat sushi. I'd eat sushi. That's gross, man. And then
It
finally,
is gross.
well, you just ain't been with me yet. We're gonna go next week, me and you.
No
Good
doubt.
stuff.
But literally,
Yeah, it is
I
good.
said it was the tuna, the raw tuna. I said, here, have a piece of this. He ate that. He said, that ain't bad, man. And on the next trip, I said, here, try this. It's got cream cheese in it, man. It's a Philadelphia roll. You'll like this. He ate that. You know, we've had some good times up here. Now every time we go, hey man, you want to get this roll, this roll, this roll, this roll, this roll, this roll, this roll. Yeah, man, let's get them all.
You got to get Eddie started on ceviche or something.
Not going to happen.
I always make the joke to Wayne, you know, when we're doing something. He says, man, I ain't doing that. I'm like, Wayne, you're running out of time in life. We better do it right now. Tomorrow might not be here. You know? So snakehead fishing, you like that. You do that. What else do you like to do when you're here?
Just I like deer hunting, squirrel hunting, anything that has to do with outside in the woods.
You've been shooting some squirrels lately, I heard.
Yeah, got a game feast coming up Saturday. So.
You've been putting it to the
Yeah.
squirrels over there, I'll say that.
And it ain't like there's not any squirrels around. There's plenty of squirrels
plenty of
in my
squirrels.
place.
My
So
goodness.
I
Yeah,
figure
thanks
I
for having that the weekend I'm gone.
Yeah, I figure thinning them out a little bit.
Hey, he's
It
making
helps
oyster
them out.
fritters tonight. You'll be going too for that,
Can't eat
dang
them.
it.
But it always helps out to thin them out a little bit. You don't want all that interbreeding and all.
That's
that,
exactly.
So it helps.
Population
out really.
management.
Yes,
That's the
does.
key to
It helps out.
conservation. It really
Yes.
is. People don't understand that.
Yep. Without the sportsmen, we wouldn't have what we have now.
That's exactly right.
Now, I will say this. I have the most respect out of a lot of hunters for Wayne than more than most. And the only reason I say that is Wayne's been hunting here how many years?
Well,
50.
I'm going to say 50 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least maybe 60. Yeah.
You never had to do anything illegal to get your deer, did you?
No, never have.
And that was
That's
something.
always said anybody could do that.
And that was something that he instilled in me. I remember we were hunting a spot 2 years ago, and I said to you, I said, man, if that Sika comes in tonight, that big one, I'm taking him out. He looked at me and he said, you can't do that, Kaz. It's doe season. And I said, yeah, but other people do it, and they put it on their Blackwater permit. And he looked at me, and what he said to me was this. He said, you do what you want to do. But I can tell you right now, you do that, I won't have any respect for you anymore and probably won't ever hunt with you again, and walked away from me.
Yep.
And you know what happened that night? That big 6-pointer came right in on me.
Yep.
Mm.
He just
Can
watched.
you tell us what you did?
That's gut check
I,
time.
I,
right there.
I didn't do anything. This is what I did. I started freaking out so bad. I grabbed my phone. I'm like, I got to make a video. At least he'll believe that I saw it. And instead of making the video, it was on camera, and I pushed this. And I'm watching the deer, and I'm watching, thinking I'm recording the whole time. I'm zoomed in on its face, big horns. I'm like, man, wait till he sees how big this thing is. I put it down, it leaves. I can't breathe. I'm like, whew, that was almost as crazy as shooting one, man. And I went to look at the video. I was like,
It was you.
it was me looking in the camera with a smile. I said, dang.
Oh, selfie. Took the old selfie of you watching the deer.
I'm like, Wayne, look, man, I got it on video. Psst. I don't know what happened.
That
So.
was something.
Well, Gary's going hog hunting when he leaves here. Gary, where are you going hog hunting? Tell us what's going on.
Anderson, South Carolina. Never been there. Don't really know much about the place I'm going. A friend of mine set it up and asked me did I want to go. And I'm going. So I'll give you a
Easy
report
enough.
next week
So,
on podcast 17.
does that mean we got bacon on the way back for us?
Most likely, if I get one, I'm
That's
bringing
a
it
hope
back
anyway.
for whoever because I don't eat pork.
Can you try to shoot one that's 500 pounds instead of 200 pounds?
I'll do my best. Bigger
You,
the
did you say
better.
you don't eat pork?
I can't eat pork.
How come? What's up?
It's not religion. It's
Oh, that's what I was.
no, it's a,
No, that's why I was asking.
I got
wasn't
a
sure.
soft stomach. I just
Okay.
for whatever reason pork just tears me up.
How about that? I never realized that. That's the first I've ever heard of somebody having problems with pork like that.
Yeah, just I don't know. Since I was a kid, never could. I can eat scrapple and bacon, and
Just not pork
but
chops. or
not
nothing.
sausage or pork loin or pork chops.
And I think if you have any problems, you got to fall back from a friend of ours that said if you come up short, give him a shout, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
Mr. John Fuss, thank you very
yeah,
much.
yeah, Johnny, coming your way, buddy.
So, Wayne, so you've been coming down here for 50 years now, and not just the wildlife have changed in your time. But what have you seen as far as like the receding forests as well, like things like that, where the marshes are kind of killing off the tree, the saltier parts of it.
Yeah, I've seen that down area I hunted, which is really Blackwaters Area T right now.
Right.
And we hunted down there back first time I hunted was in '87, and one spot that we called I forget what we called it, but it was a spot where I hunted at down there, and I went in there probably 8 or 9 years ago, and I was kind of bewildered. I didn't know where I was, and I know the woods like the back of my hand down there because I hunted it so long. And what happened, that all these, the marsh, I guess the salt got in there, and it was a beautiful set of pines in these woods, and it just, all of them, no pine needles on them no more. Beetles got to them, sawdust around the bases of all of them. I mean, it just destroyed all them pine trees down there. So the water level is coming up.
And how many acres do you think have you seen in your lifetime recede of woodlands into marshlands? Just off the top of your head.
God, I don't know. Like me and Gary were talking about down there at 335. I mean, that there, you know, I mean, that was probably, a half an acre to an acre going there.
On the left-hand side going down, the marsh started right at the edge of the bridge and went over. You look, there's like 4 or 5 little mud spots out there. When it's low tide or above, it went all the way out to there, and it was trees.
That's crazy.
And the other side where the stump field was woods.
Yeah, it wasn't stumps, it was woods.
Right.
And out, down Taylor's Island, out at the slough, when you went through the slough out there used to be a little island out there. It used to be nice. We could hardhead fish off of all the time. And that's completely gone now.
It's just like James Island.
Yeah, and all that James Island, it's not much left of that place anymore.
It's pretty much gone. But they're actually I was just talking to somebody. The permits are in place to rebuild James Island.
I heard that's what they were going to do.
That's good news anyway. So.
They're going to build it back like it was in 18 something or other.
Yeah, close to pretty much what they're doing with Poplar Island now.
Yeah,
they're going to do with James Island too. So
that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
James Island was huge at one time.
That's where we're going to move the headquarters for Blackwaters Edge once they get it straight.
That's going to make a major impact.
Oh my God, yeah, it's going to change.
In Madison Bay, it's going to change.
Madison Bay, Taylor's Island, the whole works.
Right up at Button Neck there, where the branch comes in. I remember hunting there on the side field going down Button Neck Road. You could get off across from where Mike Spears was. You could walk through the field, walk through the woods, and walk to the back field. Now the branch comes almost all the way up to the old road that goes to the back field. So it's in 50 years it's come.
Where
up.
we put over down there was woods.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's you go in there now, it's full of stumps, but it's not logs laying in the water. It's stumps sticking up in the water,
right?
And they're tear the heck out of the bottom of your boat.
Back where we would duck hunted, that was all trees went right across the marsh area over to Lynn Spicer's side over there, and now it's all water back there. So it's changed through 50 years.
We're old, Wayne.
That's what I'm thinking, man. When I started doing the math in my head when we first started the show about how many years he's been coming, like, good God, man.
I'm glad you didn't ask us what we've seen in evolution.
So Wayne, you gonna be heading to the outdoor show next weekend?
I might be, yeah.
How come you don't do any of the muskrat skin or nothing like that?
Oh, I never got into that.
That seems like it's right up your alley.
Yeah, and even trapping. I started to do some trapping and never got into that neither. I don't know why. I just
never your thing.
I guess working all the time and only be able to do it on the weekends. Now that I'm retired.
I was getting ready to say you're retired now. You can do whatever the hell you want.
And I've thought about doing it, but I haven't got into none of that.
Never been your bag.
No, just hasn't been. Not that I don't have some friends that's done it, and interesting. But I just haven't got into it.
What is your favorite thing to harvest here and eat?
Probably Sika.
Yeah, that's the best.
Well, I think I know what your second answer is. What's your second answer?
I guess oysters. I mean,
where's the snakeheads falling all this?
Oh yeah, well the snakeheads. I mean,
I can tell you right now, I know you eat snakeheads like they're going out of style.
I could eat snakehead. I'd probably eat that over the rockfish myself. I mean, I've eaten a lot of rock in my life and caught quite a few, but I love the snakeheads. They're delicious.
So do you think the snakeheads are better than most fish here? I mean, where does snakehead rank with you as far as your top fish?
I put them right up there with the rock, the crappie, and all that. I put them right in there with it. They're that good. They're delicious.
What is your favorite thing to make with snakeheads? What do you like to do?
I like cutting them up in pieces and deep frying them, which isn't as good for you. But I also like putting them in a tin pan and putting them in my broiler and just put Old Bay on them and broil them, nothing else. No butter, no nothing, and that way you get just a taste of the fish.
I wonder if they're going to have any snakeheads down at the outdoor show.
I don't know. That's a good question.
But I can eat it 3 days in a row. It don't bother me. That's how much I like it.
Yep, me too.
I do.
Before we start talking about all the events and things, I don't know if anybody paid attention to the post that we put on Blackwater's Edge and Snakehead Life about whether or not you eat snakehead. Did any of you guys happen to go through and look at the comments? How many hundreds of comments there
I had to
were
stop
in there?
counting because it was amazing, the response we had. It was an incredible response, and it's literally too many to count. Yeah, I had to literally stop because I couldn't keep track of it all.
And the reason I wanted to do that is because there's so many people out there that are still skeptical about eating it. And when people are new to the group and they look and they see that, yes. Our whole MO is to get folks to come here and harvest some fish to help us and eat them, you know. And I think that we're starting to make a dent in that. And I think that we're doing it in a very pretty respectful way as far as, you know, what we're doing. You know, we're not trying to be like some kind of murder or anything like that. We're trying to be responsible. We're trying to educate the folks that are coming to visit, and we're trying to help them understand why we're asking them to give us a hand, you know. So I know we've got some events to talk about today, so let's jump into them.
So we've got our show still next week. That's going to be on Thursday again. We'll be releasing that on Thursday. But then later that week, next week, is going to be the 28th and 29th is the outdoor show in South Dorchester.
National Outdoor.
Yep.
Yeah, National Outdoor Show. Yep.
Come on down and visit us.
Absolutely. Outdoor show is always a great time. You've got the Miss Outdoors pageant. That's Friday night, I believe.
Friday night.
And then you've got you've got the muskrat skinning contest. That's on Saturday.
That's in the afternoon.
Saturday afternoon.
Morning and afternoon.
Right.
And just in case anybody's wondering, you need separate tickets for each event.
Right. Yeah. Each event requires separate
and the
tickets.
Little Miss Outdoors is Saturday morning, I believe.
Yeah, and Little Mister and Little Miss, both of those are Saturday morning. Then you get the muskrat skinning afterwards. Also on the 29th, we have the Midshore Fishing Club is doing their flea market.
That's our club.
That's the local outdoor club that was the local fishing club that was started after the MSSA broke up after all that debacle. The Dorchester chapter came together and started the Midshore Fishing Club. Their fishing flea market is Saturday the 29th, I believe at 10 o'clock.
I think that's what it was, 10.
That sounds about right. I don't have that right in front of me.
Harry, if you can leave us a comment somewhere if we're wrong, let us know.
Absolutely. Yep. Correct us in the comments by all means.
And where's that at, Ed?
That is going to be at the Elks or
It's the Moose Lodge, isn't it? Right
Moose. I think it's the Moose. Yeah, the
Moose Lodge over here on
right behind Cambridge Diner.
Yes.
The road that runs
Oh,
down there.
okay, yeah.
And then also on the 29th, we're going to have Xander Fur here at the Wolford store. They're going to be here buying furs from all the trappers, your muskrat furs, your fox fur, all that good stuff.
Nice.
They'll be here purchasing. And then also, 29th is a busy day this month. We've got, we're going to be at Anglers the 29th doing their Snakehead seminar online. So
We're coming, Mike.
so we'll be there on the 29th. I think that's everything for the rest of the month as far as what's going on outdoors wise.
Festival wise, we got that coming up.
Yeah, we got the festival coming up that's April 4th. Well, don't worry, we'll continue to remind you of that one too.
And we do still have a few tables left, not many.
Not very many. We're getting slim pickings on that.
So people are starting to really reach out for them, and we tried to tell you a month and a half ago to come on and get your table. So if you haven't gotten a table, you need to reach out to one of us, me, Gary, Eddie, one of us, and we'll get you straight and get your email.
That's right. And then just a reminder of all the tournaments we've got.
Oh yeah.
We've got the. I'll put that over there.
So what we're going to do, tournament-wise, this is how things are lining up so far. So far.
May 16th, we're going to be here in Dorchester County.
Yep, that'll be the first our first tournament of the year.
Right.
Kick it off. Yep.
And then June 20th, we'll be in the Bush River with Westside Snakes.
Yep, Roy Boyd.
And then July, we're still working out the exact date, but we're going to be
working with Susquehanna. Sounds like we're going to be up Susquehanna with Don up at Autumn Sky, and we're trying to figure out a weigh-in place for that.
Right, and then we're working out the August date with possibly here in.
I've reached out to a couple people on the August date. Yep. I haven't heard back from the people I reached out to. I have a feeling that we're going to hear back from one of them, so I think that'll get taken care of. And
then, of course, we've got the Classic here in October, which will be invite only for the leaderboards of the Angler of the Year standings. So.
And that person will get a very, very special prize.
Absolutely. Ask Wayne about the special prize.
September is going to be at the delivery room.
Yeah, September will be at the September might be in flux for me.
So Eddie, I didn't want to spoil it. Why don't you go and tell everybody what you got going on? All right. So
if you haven't seen it on Facebook already, my wife's pregnant with our second child, so and it's going to be doing
Congratulations.
and they're gonna name it after me, folks.
Absolutely not. You all know better than that.
That's what I told Eddie. I said, I hope it's a girl, so you don't have to choose between Kaz and Gary.
So
my.
right now they're saying the due date is September 5th. So yeah, September's gonna be a busy month.
And myself and you, we're gonna try to make some rounds on the 29th and visit these places, the outdoor show. We'll try to swing over,
We're gonna,
say hi.
We're gonna try and visit as many places as possible on the 29th. I'm definitely gonna be here because I got to meet up with Xander. They usually show up around 9, I think. I can't remember. Maybe earlier. They're usually gone by lunchtime anyway. When
28th is Anglers or 29th?
No, the 29th. Everything's the 29th except for the outdoor show starts the 28th.
Okay, so maybe the 28th. Me and you'll make a pop in over there.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, we can
just
stop
say
in
hi,
outdoor.
shake some
Absolutely,
hands,
yeah,
introduce ourselves, talk about some stuff.
Yeah, we'll figure something out to be at the outdoor show on the 28th. We're probably not gonna have a table there, but we'll definitely be there.
Absolutely.
Talking to people. So
Yeah.
So Kaz, you got any one more for Wayne?
Nope.
Are you sure? That's odd.
Wayne, we're gonna get my truck fixed soon.
Can't even get the tool to done.
All right, everybody. So for Wayne Brown, Gary Smith, Kaz Kenny, myself, appreciate y'all tuning in, and we're gonna catch y'all next time.
That was a good